Hello, everyone. Welcome to another podcast. I'm here with Italo and the co-chair of Justice for All Party. Still no theme music, still no intro music. We'll get that. But let's start off with the good news. So what happened this week, Elo?
So, Jason, I don't know how long we've been fighting this one, but it's been a long and it's been a tough fight. Just for so many months. We've been stuck in the courts, stuck in the Board of Elections, where our signatures weren't getting recognized, and finally, as of yesterday, a court ordered that we, the Justice for All Party of North Carolina, are now a recognized political party in the state of North Carolina. And most importantly, that means we get to put people on the ballot. So we finally did it. And I
Wow.
think, look, I think sometimes it's hard to think about, how big something like this is. But hey, man, we just defeated one of the two major parties in the United States. I mean, people that have entrenched themselves into law, that have, opened up corporations in order to come against us. The Elias law firm came against us. The Democratic Party of North Carolina came against us. The DNC themselves came against us. There's an organization called Clear Choice Action that was led by the former Biden deputy press or deputy campaign manager. So I mean, we had the entire Democratic Party establishment against us, and we defeated them. I think that's huge. That deserves a pat on the back with everybody at JFA North Carolina.
Yeah, definitely, a team effort, but you and Drew, the amount of work and ambition I saw you guys have to go through, jumping through hoops, and the amount of obstacles I would not have believed were possible to be put in front of us, and we did it. So celebratory, definitely in order.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, you've been in the trenches there, Jason. And the last couple of weeks, we were asking ourselves, like, man, they've really put us through the ringer here. And it was getting tough and very, very tough. A lot tougher as the time went on to really continue pushing back. But push back we did, and we beat them. So that's it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if it's really settled in for you. It hasn't with me. It just, yeah, it felt like we wouldn't, like, no matter what we did, and we're probably not all the way through it. I'm sure they'll appeal this, but it's just amazing that justice is prevailing. It was honestly depressing to know what obstacles they would put in front of us to make sure that justice wasn't possible. Like, you can't tell me that these supposed, major parties are for democracy, and they're everything they do with their other corporations and themselves and is just obstructionist. There's no other word for it. So yeah, it's amazing. So what do you think? What do you think this will mean for the party in North Carolina for this year and then going forward?
Yeah, this is a complete game changer. Now that we're on the ballot, we have ballot access for this election. But then what that means is that now we now have the opportunity to be able to maintain our ballot access through 2026, and that requires getting 2% in the presidential. And I think that's really been the calling card and the mantra of third parties for a long time, right? We have to play that strategic game. I don't think that most third parties, the Green Party, the Libertarians, they're not really playing to win the whole thing, right? Because it's everything is so stacked against us. It's kind of crazy to say that that's sort of like the strategic steps that we need to take, but that's the reality of American politics. It's the reason that we have, a two-party system. It wasn't just, delivered by the universe, right? The two-party system is there because the laws are made in such a way where only the two major parties that have entrenched themselves into law have the ability to really compete. And what we need to do strategically is utilize those laws to make sure that we're chopping away at that tree and having at least the opportunity to be able to take them on. And that requires us, under North Carolina law at least, to get to 2% in the presidential, because then we'll have ballot access for the next 4 years. And that at that point, we will have gotten through the biggest obstacle, which is literally what we went through this year. Like just think about it. ballot access is such a huge obstacle for candidates because if you don't know if you're on the ballot, who's going to want to volunteer for you? You can't even go out onto the field and start doing what you need to do. You can't start campaigning until you know that you have ballot access, or it might all be for naught, right? People are not going to want to donate to you. People might not want to volunteer. And by the way, I mean, I will say we've had even without the ballot access, we've had a good amount of donations. We've had a good amount of volunteers. So now the energy is really starting to get there. I mean, just today we've had a bunch of emails, just to like the not even just the Justice for All North Carolina email, but also I've received an email from the campaign manager for the West campaign that has had people reach out to her, ready to get started in North Carolina. So even now that the news is starting to trickle out, like people are starting to become energized about this. So if we can now get to 2%, and we have what, two and a half, 3 months or something like that to be able to get there. It's a good amount of time, especially with somebody with the name recognition of Dr. West. I think we're going to be able to get there. And if we do that, that opens up the door for us for 2026, which is where we can then field candidates to as many positions as we want to. And as we've been discussing, as you know, Jason, we want to field positions for every elected position that we can, go on a complete blitz and really be a thorn on the side of the two-party system and make sure that 2026 is our year.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean there were people, potential candidates, and it's like, well, I don't want to start a campaign if I'm not going to be on the ballot. So now that it's, we're full 10 toes down at this point, and it's easy to be re-energized. I certainly am. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. And one more thing about that, I think North Carolina is such an interesting state because we don't really vote in a traditional way. Like you will always see, the governor typically is blue. Like you're seeing right now, Josh Stein I think is up like 5, 6 points, and Trump is up by a couple points, right? So that's typically how it goes, right? Like in North Carolina, people vote blue for governor, they'll vote red for president. And the thing is that we're just an unorthodox group of people. And you can really see in the voter registration numbers that the largest voting bloc, right, is independents. So people really don't like the two-party system. We in North Carolina are a very weird state where we don't conform to that left-right spectrum. We don't conform to that two-party system. It's about who do you think is talking to you and to your issues. And so I think really North Carolina can really be that state where we, as a North Carolina party, can provide something that goes past that two-party system, that goes past that duopoly, that goes past that left-right thing that we've been sort of trained to believe, and really go to the people. What do we as North Carolinians need? What do we as North Carolinians want? And again, if we have that ballot access for 2026, that in and of itself, just the political makeup of North Carolina, it makes us very, very capable of dethroning that duopoly. And I really think that that's why they're coming so hard after us, and we the people, and all the other third parties.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's why their pockets seem like never ending, because they know what it means to like for a threat to unveil itself and to start gaining momentum. There is no doubt about why they are scared as they are. And yeah, I'm really excited to see not only the people who are independent and do vote, but also the people who are going to come out and vote because there's somebody locally and state on the state into 2026. And yeah, I mean, we could elect a congressperson. Like it's not out of the question at all. Like there are a lot of people who are excited to see what our platform is, and the discussions we've had about the platform. And actually, let me take a quick step back and apologize for not doing as many of these as we should. There's a lot of people that can't come to the meetings that we have, and we should be doing a better job of communicating that discussion and asking for input. So yeah, email us. The the website, go to the website, sign up, put a comments in the YouTube, whatever. But like we're interested in seeing what people want, and as we develop this platform that we've been working on, but now it's a new page. It's going to get really, really, really exciting. So I was wondering what your thoughts were about possibly a coalition. Now that we will be on the ballot, I think the Greens are on the ballot, and we've had interactions with the other independent parties, the Libertarians and whatnot. And is there room for possibly trying to push through legislation or changes to voting laws, or uh, just changes to maybe get the major duopoly to concede certain things now that we have a threat? And yeah, is there any room to come together and maybe work as a coalition?
That is probably the most important question, Jason, in 2024, and probably for the rest of this decade. Let's think about a big picture, right? Like this country is only 250 years old. That's literally nothing. And when you're comparing, the ages of other countries, 250 years is not that much. And we've had a two-party system from the very beginning. And I mean, we don't need to go all the way back into the history, but I mean, I think it is interesting to note that the reason that we have a two-party system is because it was the only thing that they knew in 1700s, where that's how the parliament in Britain was divided between the Whigs and the Tories. And so then Hamilton and Jefferson kind of took that on, and they started the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. And from there, it's just been two different parties, kind of following in succession. So now, after 250 years, it's really interesting to see that people have woken up, right? Like people have woken up, and you don't just see it in the voter registration numbers. I mean, pretty much everybody that I talk to, even if they do, most people do vote Democrat or Republican because it's the only options that they think they have. But anybody that you talk to is like, yeah, the two-party system is kind of illogical. It's kind of irrational. And those conversations, I've heard them just kind of really get up there. I mean, everybody in my family who has typically been either Democratic or Republican voters, everybody that I know of is voting third party, either for Chase Oliver or for RFK or for Cornel West. It doesn't matter. But there's, my entire family is anti duopoly at this point. And one of the beautiful things that I noticed this year that I've never noticed before is, like, for example, back on Flag Day, which I don't remember when that was, like in June, I think, at some point, June 15th or something like that. We had a rally at the old state capitol in North Carolina, not the current legislative building, but the old one that's just kind of there for show now. And we were out there, and I mean, the Libertarians were at that rally, the We the People Party was at that rally, independents were at that rally. The Ford Party was at that rally. The Constitution Party was at that rally. I mean, so the Green Party was at that rally. So you had everybody from Greens to Constitution Party, like people that you would never see in a rally together in my wildest dreams.
Right.
Everybody coming together, shaking hands, giving each other a hug, talking each other up on the mic. Why? Because we've all come together in this time where we notice that the duopoly is trying to keep democracy down. They're trying to essentially quell anything that does not conform to their two-party system. And I think that now that they've attacked us so hard, and they've been attacking the libertarians for a while, they've been attacking the Green Party for a while. Now that they've attacked us so hard, I think they've pushed everybody so far over the edge where people, we all have our ideological concerns and, kind of our political positions. But right now, this really is a fight for democracy. I know that the Democrats always like to say, oh, this is like, an existential election and we're fighting for democracy or whatever, which is kind of laughable when they're literally trying to kick their political opponents off the ballot. But they are onto something. The dam has broken, and people have realized that democracy in this country needs to be saved. I don't remember what thinker it was that used to say that you have to choose between empire or republic. Which one is it going to be? You can't have both. And right now, we're kind of acting like an empire. A long time ago, Jesse Ventura explained it, I think, in a very, very cool way and in a very true way, which is the Demo Crips and Republicans, two gangs in government. These are two gangs. These very much are two gangs. and they control every aspect of our government. And this year, we've been caught in between. We've been caught in that crossfire, right? We've been caught in between this gang warfare between these two gangs. And we were able to come out, relatively unscathed. But I think what they've done after so many years of just dejecting people and saying that there can't be any other option than the Democrats and the Republicans, they've pissed off everybody so much that now people's like primary political goal is we got to get these people out of there. We got to get these people off of their thrones so that we can at least have open elections. And then we can start talking a little bit more about our ideological distinctions and our ideological positions. But right now, it really is about can we have a free and fair election? And with the Democrats and the Republicans owning the board of elections, essentially, it's never going to happen. It's impossible.
It's the opposite. Yeah, I was gonna. It's the only good thing about having two just awful choices is, yeah, I have libertarian family, and they're like, you're way left, but you're better than them. I can talk to you. We can talk.
Right.
And it's a beautiful thing. I did want to kind of. Well, actually, let me just state that that's kind of one of the reasons why I like Dr. West so much, and is he knew that we're at this breaking point, right? And it's people have their critiques of his choices and of his campaign, but he's been down to ride for if he doesn't win, he's been down to ride for the next 2 years, for the next 4 years. We plant, grassroots. We grow. If we don't win this year, that's fine. But we're not. He never said, yeah, I'll run as a Democrat. I'll run as a Republican. It's always been about capitalizing on this moment where we're a moment in a movement, and that movement's not going to stop after this year. So what's next for the campaign? I know been talking about a couple different campaigns going forward. So what's next for the campaign right now?
Yeah, and that's such a good question, Jason. And I think, leading with, what the purpose of the West campaign is, I think, kind of like you mentioned, is very important. We're a moment in a movement, right? And I know that a lot of people don't quite grasp what Dr. West is really trying to do here, but it's a very important thing in this breaking point. Um, and I don't remember if we talked about this at our convention or if it was at some other convention, but it's important to look at Dr. West also from his revolutionary Christian perspective. So because sometimes it's hard to really understand what he's trying to do here. And he's, in a way, playing a sort of John the Baptist role here. He's preparing the way for something better. He's opening up that path for us to be able to declare our independence from these two parties. That's a beautiful thing. It's a hard path, right? It's a very hard path. He's going to get hated. He's going to get, a barrage of just, horrific comments about him. But he's always been an honorable person, right? He's never gone down to that level. He's somebody who knows what he's trying to do. And there's a reason why he's running for president because he is trying to open up those paths, like the one that we're talking about today. If he gets to 2%, we, Jason, get the opportunity for 2026 to make the case. And the beautiful thing about the Justice for All Party is that we're just regular people. We're just average randos that you can literally just pluck off the street, and we're over here running a political party, right? Like I'm an Amazon worker. Drew is a postal worker, or was until a few days ago. Now he's a bartender, right? We have our treasury that's ran by a farmer and by a teacher, right? So you don't really get to see those things very often, and he's allowing us to be able to have that opportunity to from the ground up, not from some consultant in DC that tells a political party how they need to act, what specific candidates they need to choose, what specific positions they need to choose to play that political science game, but how can we the people form something that is actually representative of our communities. And I think really that is the next step of the campaign here, which is get to 2%, but also what does the future look like? And for example, we're thinking about doing very different types of organizing. Like right now, we have a huge medical debt crisis in not just North Carolina, but in the entire nation. But it's very acute in North Carolina, especially in the poor eastern side of North Carolina. And we have already formed a partnership with Undue Medical Debt, formerly RIP Medical Debt, in which we're going to go off and collect money, obviously, because we need money to operate as a political party. But we're not just going out there to collect money to run, a political party or to give it to candidates. We're collecting money as a political party to abolish that type of medical debt. And with undue medical debt, with $10,000, we can abolish between $1 to $2 million of medical debt. So because they buy out medical debt by the dollar, and they pay it off like I think a couple cents to the dollar. So it's a huge opportunity for us to be able to come in and say, look, we're not just going to wait to get our candidates into office to do something.
Right.
Medical debt should not be a thing, and we're going to do something about it. Our boots on the ground are not just going to go off and tell you, hey, vote for us and do this for us. No, we're going out there and we are of service to the community. Again, what Dr. West is talking about, right? That we're not extracting anything from people. We're trying to build justice. What does justice look like, right? We're trying to provide service to our neighbors. We're trying to give ourselves to our neighbors, give our time to our neighbors, and do something that can actually be very impactful. And when you think about it, I mean, in the United States, it's kind of crazy to think about, but like a cancer survivor has survived one of the most horrific moments that any human being can survive. After they survive, what they need to do is figure out a way to pay off all those debts. So I mean, as a cancer survivor, you should be a freaking national hero. You shouldn't be sitting out there, scraping pennies and trying to figure out how to pay off the debt for that you needed to live. So it's abolishing medical debt is something bigger than just a policy plank, right? It's something that is life or death. It's something that people, it's part of somebody's humanity. And I think that's one of the things that we as the Justice for All Party want to do. And I'm sure Drew has spoken about this, but Drew Lischke, the co-chair for the western side of North Carolina, always speaks about how we are not just a political party, but we are more of a society here, right? Like we
Yeah.
do field people to political office, but we also do public works, right? Like we're not just here to field people to political office, but we actually want to do something for our community, not after we get our people elected, but right now. What can we do right now?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's such a stark difference between, what at least the people who've had their eyes open have seen from other parties where we're not selling people, like selling you anything. We we just want to help people. Like, yeah, and imagine like the cancer survival rates if you don't have like you're not only just fearing what the cancer can do to you, and but like you don't have programs like this, you don't have a community like this, you're also fearing the aftermath, and it just doesn't make sense. So definitely one of the reasons why, I love being a part of this and why I think so many other people do. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna let you go. I know you're very busy. Thanks for jumping in and sharing this moment with everyone. It's just truly remarkable. Hats off to you for all of the hard work and everyone else too. But it's amazing. I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen next 2 or 3 months.
Thank you, Jason. Hats off to you. Thank you for everything, my friend. And we'll be talking. I appreciate the space.
Thanks, Elo.
All right. I'll see you.